Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. This is a very important video. It's one that it's a story we've been following for quite some time. And there's another twist to an already sort of tortuous, labyrinthine story regarding the Greater Glasgow and Clyde hospitals, regarding charges of corporate homicide. And it's dealing with people that we've dealt with before. And this is something that obviously Leslie Roberts has talked about, and it's the story of like Louise Slorence, young Millie M, that sort of thing. It's been ongoing for quite some time now, and I've been following the story, like I say, for about 2 years. But this latest twist is just another example of the sheer hubris, I think, of the board. They're acting in so many ways that it's way beyond unethical now. If this isn't illegal, then it damn well ought to be. But it just goes to show what kind of monsters we have running that board, and possibly others, you don't know, but certainly this one. Now, I'm going to go through this because it definitely deserves being told in full. Normally I just do selected bits. I think in this case I am going to go through it because you need to know what is going on. So we're going to be talking about this hospital debacle with the QEUH and all that. So the headline. This is from the record, and it's Under Fire Health Board used public cash to fund a report rubbishing patient killer infections claims. So these people are going into hospital. They're becoming infected in hospital, and then the board have basically, and I'm just going to say the word, faked this report, 218-page report. They've used public money for it, and the judge has just thrown it out, won't even allow it into evidence. So that's 218 pages where they're going to try and blind you with science, confuse you with words, throw a word salad at you because they know that most people won't understand all the technical terms. And the judge has turned around and just said no, because he just, on the basis of what the summary of what they're saying is clearly wrong. The NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde had their report thrown out by a major public inquiry after it was submitted at the very last minute. So put it in at the last minute, that way there can be no scrutiny, you see. These people are so cynical, so sneaky, so sleek it. They think if they put it in the last minute, nobody will have time to get through 218 pages of sheer and utter bollocks. And so nobody can question it or look into the details of what is said in there. And then they'll put all these highly technical terms in. And the judge went, nope, out, not having it. So the health board, facing possible corporate homicide charges, has used public money for the report that claims that patients who contracted infections in hospitals were to blaming the patients, blame the victims for bringing the bugs in. Now, there are so many reasons why that's rubbish. The Sunday Mail can reveal that the study commissioned by the NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde contradicts previous independent reports connecting infections to the £87 million QEUH, where 3 children and an adult died. The adult, I think, being Slorence. Furious families have accused the health board of spending taxpayer money to gaslight them. And it is sheer rubbish what they're saying. Some of these infections were known about for years. Some of them were known as they were actually building the hospital. The management were told, and the management did nothing during the construction phase to stop this. There was all sorts of things. There was mold, so you've got fungal infections running deep through this hospital. They were told they could deal with this at the construction stage, and they said no. They put in the wrong sort of air ducting and air conditioning, and they said we need to change this, and they said no. And then, of course, you've got moisture running through, you've got perfect breeding conditions for disease. Ultimately, this is a management problem, and the management are trying everything they can do to wiggle out of it because they're all scum. The NHS-GGC, blocked by the judge in the ongoing public inquiry from submitting the 218-page report, claims a patient may bring a source of infection into the hospital from the community. Not when that infection is one caught inside the hospital. And it suggests that the health board's patient management policies could be decreasing the incidence of infections. What they're saying is there's been fewer infections since we started cleaning it all up. So it must have been our clever people, making sure people are clean coming in. No, that's not it. There we go. David Campbell, 46, whose son James, 4, was treated at the QEOH in 2018, said the constant gaslighting of patients and families is disgusting, and it is beyond that. It's immoral. It's unethical. It should be illegal, and if it's not illegal, then there's something wrong. He said, I completely trust the independent experts. I cannot fathom why NHS GGC try to get their own experts, and he's put the experts in quotes, to contradict everything, including trying to blame patients. It is beyond insulting. The health board, he said, is choosing to spend probably tens of thousands of pounds of public money on experts to help defend their civil and criminal cases, only to cause families even more distress. Bang on, mate. Absolutely. They're trying to wriggle out of this because they know they are to blame. And if they can pass the buck and try and create reasonable doubt, then they can walk off scot-free instead of going to prison. This is the wonderful thing about health and safety. It's not just the organisation that's responsible, it's the people as well. So whilst the organisation may be facing fines, those at the top, management and directors and all that, they go to prison, possibly for a very long time. The inquiry is examining if water and ventilation systems were unsafe, and we know full well it is. I did a video, and I actually had the guy on the channel. We did the Zoom with him, where he was saying that when they were doing the installs and that, they were putting in the wrong ducting. They told the management said, no, carry on with that ducting. So we've got that. So that is completely true. Anyway, they said about these systems, were they unsafe? And they presented an additional risk for patients, which of course they would do if they were wrong. Their report, the NHSGGC's report, submitted at the 11th hour, right at the end this month, claims the site had no excess infection since 2015. And we know that's a lie as well from their own figures previously submitted. The document was rejected immediately as it would delay the inquiry. Well done, Judge. A case note review, accepted in March 2021, found 118 cases of serious bacterial infection in 84 children. What, they all brought it in from outside? Don't think so. Over a third were most likely linked to the hospital environment, and it also found the deaths of 2 children were, at least in part, if not directly, a result of those infections. Now, of course, those children were in hospital. They would have been weakened and compromised immune systems. So have this thrust upon them as well, it undoubtedly helped aid their passing. One can only hope the passing was quick and painless. Louise Lawrence, whose husband Andrew. Now, Andrew was very senior in the SNP, so you'd think they'd look after him, but apparently not. Louise Lawrence, whose husband Andrew died in 2020 while awaiting a bone marrow transplant. And of course, once bone marrow's there, you get a very much reduced immune system, said blaming hospital-acquired infections on patients and their families seems to be a frequently used defence by both the NHS GGC and the Scottish Government. Suggesting Andrew's children were the source of his fatal infection is unforgivable. These people really truly are shit on your boots, aren't they? In November, we revealed the NHSGGC was named as a suspect in a corporate homicide probe into 4 deaths at the QEUH. This could open the door for senior staff to be prosecuted, and I hope it does. All of them. Senior staff, management, directors, all of them. They deserve it. They knew. They all knew and did nothing. Even if it was by keeping your mouth shut. Evil may happen when good men do nothing. Millie M, this is the wee girl. Millie M, who was 10, died in 2017. She was being treated for leukemia when she got an infection linked to water at the site. Her mum, Kimberly, from Lanark, told the inquiry her death was murder. She said she knew nothing of the infection until it was listed as a possible cause on her daughter's death certificate. The 3 others who died were a 73-year-old and 2 boys aged 3 and 10. If found guilty at a jury trial, the health board faces an unlimited fine in the first prosecution of its kind in Scotland. Scottish Labour leader Anna Sawa said it is completely unacceptable. They are shamefully continuing to try to frustrate this process. The SNP government needs to step in and ensure we have the transparency families, staff and the public deserve. Don't use the word transparency with the SNP. We know they're not. They will block and stop and blind alley everyone who attempts to find the truth, because the truth is the worst thing that they can deal with. They would be destroyed by the truth because they knew as well. All of them knew. This is going back to the days of when Freeman was certainly those days when Freeman was in charge and beyond and before. All of them, they knew full well and they were complicit in covering it up. All of them need to go to jail. I've stopped there, but I will round off. This is a story that I've covered a long time. It's a story that's ongoing. It's a story I think will only ever end when court cases are done and people are locked up. Because unless that happens, there will be no justice. Take a moment. I will just stop because it's just a terrible thing. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.